What is poppin'? It is a slapped and riding these ReFi waves. And this is This Week in ReFi, where we give you all of the ReFi news that is fit to go ape wild over. And with me is the man with the plan, the man without a tan, the Estonian math man, Rez.
The Estonian math man. It's me.
Speaking is hard. Did you know that?
It is very hard. I mean, especially if you want to do the exact same line over and over again, week to week.
I was going for speed there, not accuracy. Sometimes you got to go for speed.
Speed running it. Okay, let's go.
Yes, this Week in ReFi done quick. We're going to say, Rez, we have something exciting this week. What do we have?
We have, drum roll, Gitcoin grants. Gitcoin is
grants,
out,
baby. Yes. 14th round, right? So people don't know what Gitcoin is. Gitcoin grants is you get to apply for grants, and they have quadratic matching. So if money is pledged to a project, Gitcoin will match at a not a linear, not a 1-to-1, but it'll be a lot at first, and then it'll level off. So it's pretty cool, very exciting.
Yes. So you can imagine Gitcoin grants as there are some very rich donors into the system where they're just saying, hey, I'm not going to immediately decide how this gets distributed in the ecosystem. I want just people, like a big mass of people, to decide who gets this money. And how do they vote? They vote with their dollars. So it brings even more dollars into the system. It allows normal people like you and me to participate.
What do you mean? You're the whales, dude. You're the whale. I'm the pleb. Come on.
Me, the whale. Yeah. But I'm super happy about this model because it also makes people just more involved. Come in, look at all of these cool projects. Maybe give $1 and get matched $20 on it. It's great. There's a huge multiplier you can get out of this.
Right. So it's like if you think, well, let me pull it up. Let's pull up what it looks like. Oh, I already got. Let's go to the grant page. Yeah. So it's really cool because if you think, oh, all I have to give is $1. Well, yes, all you might have to give is $1 that will be matched with, like Rez said, $20. So it also it gives people the sense that they will have a significant contribution, maybe even an outsized contribution compared to what they normally give, which gives incentive to give more. We will leave a link to this page. We are going to go through our favorite projects, mostly of the climate solution ReFi sector, and at the end we'll give a couple of non sequiturs. We'll give a little overview why we like it. We might even say, we might disagree and say here are the things to look out for with this protocol. Yeah, man. So. I'm excited. Very excited. Let's hit the first one.
LFG.
ReFi DAO, baby. A diverse founder-led impact community. It would probably be best if you gave your impression of this, Rez. How would you describe this to me as somebody? Because I am helping with this project. So how do you envision it?
So, imagine you are but a lonely slapton.
Lowly. Not lonely. Lowly.
Lowly. Okay, you are a lowly slapton riding the ReFi waves, and you decide that you want to make your own project. You want to work on something cool. And a lot of the problem starting sometimes is just finding the right people to talk to. And I think also being a founder is sometimes fundamentally very lonely. So you want to meet other people that are working on important things in a similar space as you. And what in my head ReFi DAO really is a coordination DAO, or this just organization of people that, hey, you people should meet. You should talk. Let's just, have people communicate and collaborate and reach out and coordinate and, have discussions about topics that are important to both. And it just brings the whole space more together and lowers this feeling that we're all competing with each other. So I think what ReFi DAO is doing is very important.
So my question to you is, where have you been? At our founder circles, when we're having discussions, when we're problem solving, sharing experiences, where's Rez been? That's my number one question.
Yes, Denver has been around. I
Yeah.
haven't, sadly. Yeah.
No, but it's probably my favorite part of the DAO thus far is the we're called founder circles.
Hmm.
So if you're involved in building a project, it's just a wealth of people who knowledge and people who are doing similar things, sharing their experiences, problem solving together, breaking off into smaller focused groups, and then reporting back to a larger group. It's really cool stuff. I'm unfamiliar of anything else that's doing this, and as you said, like the encouragement, the confidence it gives people that you aren't alone in the space, that other people are there with you, they are experiencing the same problems as you, and the encouragement that we are going to make this literally together. Like
Hmm.
you know, you show up one week, hey, how do you do this? Somebody's like, I've already went through this is the procedure. I think this is an invaluable community. I mean that sincerely. So yeah,
Totally agree.
another cool thing that's coming out of ReFi DAO, hey, this is smooth, is ReFi job board on the Palette platform, refi.palette.com/jobs. I will leave a link to this. These are curated jobs, regenerative finance jobs. As an example, have you ever wanted to be a full stack developer at Story DAO, Rez?
Hmm.
Because you could be.
Being a full, I could be. Interesting.
You could be. What about an MRV Studio Community DAO manager at
Oh my
MRV
God,
Collective? Would you do that?
that sounds so weird, and I love it. I just wonder what that job looks like. Very
So,
cool.
so all you have to do is make a brief profile. It's free, and you have access to these jobs. I mean, we've got 80, 90, 80 of them. And they're all, it's not just engineering, it's everything, community engagement, management, HR, you name it. Dude, it's like, do you want to make money and make an impact? Do you want to do well and good at the same time? This is your job board. Come and get it. This comes from ReFi DAO. I mean, I can't speak highly enough about this. It's really cool. All right,
Yes.
cool. Is a
Come do
next?
refi stuff with us.
Come do.
We
Yes,
Yeah.
the space needs you. The space needs people. All right.
Yes. Come in. There's a lot of people building in the bear market. Building in bear markets, very fun. No one asks you when launch. No one asks you. No one asks you when moon. If you can like already be in that kind of a mindset, you get to build stuff a lot
Yeah,
nicer.
this is when you
And
should be
there's
building stuff. 100%.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And you get the added benefit of no moon boys like private messaging you and telling you that they want advice on where to put their life savings.
I thought that
You
was
know.
a perk.
Oh no, that's the worst.
All right. Blockchain Infra Carbon Offset Working Group, which I've always said in my head is BICOWG. How do you say this in your head? It's always been BICOWG to me.
For me, it's BICOWG,
BICOWG.
but I haven't ever heard anyone pronounce the name like fully out loud, so I kind of wouldn't know.
This is cool. I mean, I've been following them for months now. It's a brain trust. Crypto climate experts. Included in this is our man Joseph Palant. We spoke of him. Blockchain for Climate Foundation. We'll speak of him a little bit later. I mean, there's a list here: Daniel Huang, Joshua Bijak, you name it. John Lee, Rafa from Toucan, Archimedes from KlimaDAO, Offsetra. Dude, what do you know about these guys?
They're cool people who have
You've
big
talked to them.
ideas.
Have you
Yes,
like you've
quite a few. Yeah.
have you actually met with this group?
The group, no. Individual
Yeah.
members, quite a few. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think
But
is how would you describe, their main function?
uh, their main function is organizing between each other and figuring out what the hell is happening in Carbon on Chain. I mean, it's a very complicated space, and it has so
Yeah.
many points of weirdness. So just having a bunch of people with different experiences of the same market and
Yeah.
smart people in the room means smart ideas, hopefully.
Yeah. So as an
So,
example, we had
yeah.
the Vera statement, right? That threw carbon into a frenzy or create, upside down, inside out. This group meets, they say, hey, these are the experiences we're seeing as bridgers, as market makers, etc. How do we deal with this? They can come up with a joint statement. They can put out a joint statement. They come up with a general strategy for the space. That's like the value of it. It really is a necessary thing at this point. We're going to need people to be aligned if we're going to make it through all the challenges we're going to see, especially in this market, which is insane. So
Yeah.
cool.
I mean, yeah, we're a bunch of people trying to figure out how do we use blockchain to make the world less bad, which is cool. I mean, let's do that.
Let's do it. All right, cool. The Decarbonization Warp Drive. I love this name. This comes out of the Eden DAO. The Eden
Yeah.
DAO has been around for a while. You're a fan of the Eden DAO, aren't you, Rez?
Yeah, I mean, they have a very passionate community, and I think they're still finding exactly their concept, but I've always liked keeping an eye on what thing they're working on now. And
Yes.
I mean, Cyrus has made so much progress on uh, just like what is the Eden DAO's role in the ecosystem? How does it play along with everyone else? And I've appreciated him kind of looking around exactly with this perspective of, oh, what's missing? Like, what's the missing part? Where do I find it? How do we scale the market? Let's
Yeah.
go.
Isn't there, I mean, from what I understand, their main mission is to make carbon like a reserve asset and to unlock the financial potential that is in these, that asset and to bring value to what they call unfucking the planet, which I think is,
Uh, yeah, I like people unfucking the planet, and
yeah.
I think they have like a interesting interesting tokenomics that I'm very much looking forward to seeing how it's gonna play out and where it's gonna land.
Cool. So take a look at. I mean, they've already. I mean, their lifetime funding is impressive, 135K.
Mhm.
So they have gotten traction and they are delivering already, as you could say.
Yes.
Next one is really cool. Helios DAO. What is it? Helios. That's Greek, right? It's like a god, a Greek god. I think it's
I think it's a Greek sun god.
Greek sun god. I
No,
think that's right.
no, Roman sun god, Helios.
Helios.
Roman.
Heliocentric view of the solar system is one that revolves around the sun. I bet you that's Greek because
Greek god of the sun.
yeah,
Yes.
because that was a theory that came about from Grecian times, but even before Rome. Anyway, so this is the world's first crypto-powered solar investment vehicle. This is really cool. Are you familiar with Helios DAO? Any?
I've looked into it a bit. Yeah.
So they take, or I shouldn't say they take, they fundraise through, crypto, and they take the capital, they deploy solar projects in places like India, and then they sell those solar panels to industry. And the industry buys it because it's a much less cost for their electricity compared to being on grid. So, Helios is actually able to create value
Power plants.
yeah,
Yeah.
off chain, and then they return that money to the stakeholders. This is my favorite part of this proposal. I'm gonna swear, fucking favorite part. No overly complex tokenomics. No vague promises of future profits. No outlandish claims. I love it so much. We need this, Rez. We need a. You know why they don't have complex tokenomics? Do you know why they're able to do it without complex tokenomics? Because they're actually creating value off chain. If
Yep.
you need fancy
Yep.
tokenomics, what that really is just a way to trick people into getting money into a circle. Like there's no value creation, you're just obfuscating the cycle.
It can really happen that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the more complex your tokenomics is to understand, like see through, like what exactly is it doing, the more you're in this risk of it's complex for the wrong reasons.
Agreed. So they don't need it because they're telling you what they're doing. You're giving us money, we're creating solar plants, we're finding customers, and then we're bringing that money back to the stakeholders. Simple. Anything you want to add?
Ship it.
Ship it, baby. Speaking of Joseph Prior, the Blockchain for Climate Foundation, if you've been in the ReFi space at all, I would say that this was built on the shoulders of giants, Rez.
Yes.
And one of those giants may be one Joseph Plant, who has been in the carbon markets for what, 2.5, 3 decades? I think you
A long time.
a long
Yeah.
time. You've spoken with him personally. You can attest to his wealth of knowledge. He's one of the
Yes.
founders of this project. Yeah. So
Yes.
what can you tell us?
Joseph Plant is a insanely cool dude, and you should definitely check out some podcast or something where he's spoken. He's good vibes all around, and he has been in the voluntary carbon markets essentially from the time they were founded. He's worked on very important parts of implementing and figuring out methodology questions the whole time. And his most recent project that he's been working on is exactly what we're looking at. So this project is about bringing the Paris Agreement on chain and essentially allowing the trade of Paris Agreement. Anything. Oh my God, we have to
Compliance
start a lot.
credits?
Yeah, allowance. Well, it's not necessarily like, in the Paris Agreement, you have goals. You need to reach some sort of emissions reductions goals. If you reach those, you can sell the remaining, what you exceeded to other countries so they could reach theirs as well. The system essentially is something between like a cap and trade and like a actual carbon project generation thing, but it's on a governmental level. And the cool thing about it is that in the last conference on the Paris Agreement, they made this very cool decision that these allowances can indeed be traded on chain. And now we are going to see, hopefully in the next few months, worst case, the next few years, actual trading of intergovernmental carbon allowances on chain.
Right.
I mean, how cool is that?
Which are have the full support and of states. These aren't voluntary. Yep. These need to be met. And I would say like the most secure, highest quality. Would you agree with that? Carbon credits, or one of them?
Yeah, I've heard Palant's analysis of this, and that is gonna actually depend on country. So countries might have very different standards of how they do accounting. So there are going to be countries that won't want to buy allowances from like countries with bad accounting, for instance. So there's going to be some sort of a differentiation factor there, but there are going to be some countries and governments that are generating like very high quality offsets that then everybody else wants.
I guess, I spoke poorly. I should have said that there is a very secure demand vector here, right? Because it's not like,
yes,
Coca-Cola could in theory say, we're done with the VCMs, we're just not going to do them. And that's that. You can't do that here because these are backed by governments. These are international agreements. So these are going to have a value somewhere in the marketplace. So very cool stuff, man.
Yes. So if the US could get back into the Paris Climate Agreement, that would be nice. Did they already do that? I can't remember anymore.
I'm embarrassed to say I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm so far away from US politics, man, but something to check into. All right, cool. So our man Palant made too. This is a really cool project, connecting charities to NFTs, digital charity art. I've had the pleasure of speaking with these team members, interacting with them, playing poker with them, some mean poker players, I should say, and they connect charities, as I said, to NFTs. So if you have a Save the Oceans charity, they need to raise funds. Well, you can mint turtles, like NFTs of turtles, which they've done, sell them, take that money, and it can fund really cool things. Very simple concept, I would say, and very good people. This is out of New Orleans. Samurai Turtle is the person listed as the team lead. Like I said, played poker with him. Cool dude. Anything you want to add there, Rez?
I really like selling art for charity. It's a cool concept, and I mean, like, let's do more of that.
It's a cool concept. Cool
crypto opens up so many cool ways of moving money around, and I think it's also very next level how we can essentially create like hyper transparent charity funding by having NFTs, for instance, like programmatically, like have to give this amount to the charity in perpetuity. When it's traded, that's the charity's account it's going to.
100%. Everything is public on the blockchain.
Yeah.
Rez, this might be in the running for one of my favorite projects in this round. It's Jardin de Estrellas. Not only is it a cool sounding name, but it combines two really worthwhile initiatives. This is primarily focused on communities in Los Angeles. I used to live in Los Angeles, and I haven't been there in a while, but my understanding is that there is a growing homelessness problem. And so in Los Angeles alone, 66,000 residents are experiencing homelessness. I've seen pictures, I've heard stories, friends have told me that in downtown Los Angeles, there are what they call like shanty towns, tent cities of homeless people. It's really a problem for everybody. And so this proposes to give shelter, to provide shelter that community living that would have built-in like gray water processing and have like a community garden, all built with sustainable materials. So it would alleviate, I'm not going to say solve, the homelessness problem, and do so in a way that empowers people to get by in a ecologically friendly way. Like, what's better than that, man? What's better than
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, I mean, like, get more housing to more people.
Yeah.
Do some regenerative stuff on the way. I mean, yeah,
Community.
the homelessness crisis. Well, I'm unsure if this is exactly the solution that's gonna solve that. But on the other hand, I very much appreciate anyone trying anything. So, like, see what happens. It'll be a great learning experience for everybody, and I think you'll get to do a lot of good on the way. So that's cool.
Yeah, and what I like too is it seems practical. You build units and you help people have a place to hang out. It's like we can do that. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Jardin de Estrellas, by the way. Do you know what that means in Spanish?
Does that mean Garden of Stars?
It does mean that. Very good. Look at you.
Uh-huh.
The Estonian wisdom. All right. Next up, All for Climate DAO, decentralized climate movement. This is the Greenpeace of the 21st century. You and I spoke before this. You're familiar with this initiative, aren't you?
Yeah, I've seen them going around a few times. I mean, they've been in multiple Gitcoin grant rounds, and they've been organizing conferences. They've done like hackathons. They're just trying to do things. And I think climate activism is great, and getting more people involved is great. So definitely a lot of good positive externalities with just supporting people that are trying to do activism.
There you
I
go.
mean, go to activism.
Support all projects, movements, including grassroots, which I love. I love grassroots movements. I think they're absolutely essential, and never underestimate that. So very cool. Take a look at that. Very cool project. ECORISE. We were also talking about them. They've been around for a little while, and you're a little bit more familiar with them than I am. I've heard the name. I've been in their, I believe, in their Discord for a while, and they've kind of gone through, in my eyes, a couple of iterations. Is that fair to say, or trying to find an identity? What could you add to that?
So, on a very high level, I think their mission hasn't changed. What they would like to do is they would like to set up a system in which they could acquire land and regenerate it. So, on a very high level, that's what the mission has always been. They've gone through a few different designs when it comes to tokenomics, and I'm hoping they'll find something that really, really well works for them. But as I've seen so many ReFi founders, just finding the exact solutions and answers that they need, that's sometimes like a longer process, and you'll have to pivot a few times. But they've been doing a good job pivoting and trying to narrow down exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see ECORISE, ship and make cool things happen.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that they're trying to tokenize natural capital, and unlock the value in natural capital, which we tend to overlook, right? Like, what's the value of pop quiz? What's the value of a beautiful, pristine running brook? Right? I mean, we don't really have we do and we don't have a way to like put value on that. You have a way to put value on that when you buy real estate, but what's its intrinsic value? Like, what is it worth, right? In terms of ecological, all that.
I guess it's worth a lot, but we're very unclear on how to figure that part out. Indeed. Of like how much exactly.
Indeed. And so maybe this next project could give us a little bit more insight. Shamba, Geospatial Data Oracle. I love this project because it deals with MRV, and MRV is all over the place in ReFi right now. The need for it, it seems to be a topic that is in vogue and pressing. So this is going to provide satellite data, ecological data to Web3 projects, which is crucial. And you're somebody who's involved with all of this, aren't you? Don't you deal with data? Isn't that your thing?
I have a lot of experience in data, and I have a lot of experience working with satellite vendors.
So what's the importance of this? Why should we care about MRV and satellite and ecological data?
Well, we care about it because Let's take the simpler maybe example of carbon credits. It's a carbon credit needs to have done something for it to be real. And how do you prove that something has happened or something has not happened or anything like this? You would need some cold hard evidence. So where does this cold hard evidence come from? Currently, sadly, a lot of it is just like people visiting the area, looking around and going like, yep, seems legit.
Looks good.
Well, but it's not necessarily like the most scalable way of collecting ground truth, and we need better stuff. So satellites is part of this. You can take a picture from space and then go, hey, the forest is still here, or hey, these trees are growing very nicely. Good job, reforestation project. And then you can use that as evidence to go like, hey, they planted trees. We can see that they're growing very nicely. This is how many credits you should get. But you need data to make that happen. And these guys are trying to provide that data on chain. So there can be mechanisms on chain that then accept that and then behave accordingly, which is cool.
Awesome. Very good explanation. So check that out. Shamba Geospatial Data Oracle. Next one is Treejer. I love the name, a climate action protocol. My understanding of this is you have a conduit that's going to match funders with carbon projects. So Treejer is going to be the link between them because it's kind of hard to, if I want to fund a carbon project right now, Rez, I don't know how to do that. I have no idea. So they have smart contracts and they have an interface for the funders and they have the interface for the producers. And it looks like from the pictures I've gathered, I've never played this myself, is that there is like a digital forest that represents your contributions. You can buy trees, which I'm assuming is funding projects, and you can build your forest representing your positive impact on the planet.
Yes.
I love that.
So you pay people to plant trees for you, and you get an NFT. You get an NFT that reflects that.
Rez, how much? If I want you, how much would I have to pay you to plant a tree for me? A nice coniferous, like a 3-foot coniferous.
I don't think I could realistically offer that service. I don't own any land, so me planting random trees would probably not be what you want.
What about you? Got neighbors that got land?
No, I live in an apartment block.
Oh
so...
my goodness. All right, fine.
I don't own land.
The deal is off.
I don't even own the apartment. Like,
you'll own nothing and like it. All right.
Yeah.
The next project, Saving Ancient Forest. Love the title because it's very clear. Saving Ancient Forest stops climate change. This is a group that's trying to save 75, I believe, acres or hectares. I don't know. 75 acres, right? Because we're on the imperial system, the better system.
Acres.
Yeah. On a sacred mountain in the Gulf Islands. Very straightforward project. Tangible results. This land is an ancient forest. Like they said, it's under threat of deforestation and they want to buy and preserve it. That's all you have to say, right? Like, simple project. Go.
They buy it. They do nothing.
Go take money. Give them your money. No, right now.
Yeah, go right now. If you give them $1, you will be matched with $23.
That's huge.
Yeah, if you give them $100, you will be matched with $113.
Massive.
So, like, yeah, I mean, go give them dollars so they could get more dollars from other people. It's great.
Go save that land.
Yeah, and I would like to go on a small tangent here.
Please.
And I think this is a very good example of, this is clearly not a crypto project. I think we both see that, right? It's not.
What?
Yeah, and they're using Gitcoin grants, which fund public goods. And yes, this is a great example of crypto interacting with something that isn't crypto and doing something great. I mean, look at it.
Not everything has to be crypto, right?
Yeah, not everything has to be crypto. Not all public goods are protocols. Sometimes public goods are just buying a piece of land and saying, this is mine now, and I'm not going to let anything bad happen to it.
That's why I like this project, because it wasn't crypto, and I think it was important to show that. So thank you for pointing that out. All right, Planetary CARE. This is super important, too. Carbon and biodiversity credits to build food ecosystems. What people don't realize, or they do and they don't care, or they don't think about it enough, is the enormous amount of energy that goes into feeding the world. It's like one of the measurably like one of the biggest inputs for energy and one of the biggest outputs for greenhouse gases. It's an enormous undertaking to feed the 7 billion people on our planet. So this proposes ways in which we can do that in a much more environmentally sustainable way. Which, I mean, there's no way we're getting around the burden of feeding all these people. So we better start paying attention to how we're doing it. And there's a lot of things that they do. One of the things I'll just point out is this is so cool. They had like an an antimicrobial inoculant, or microbial inoculant is what they called it, which is essentially like an organic pesticide that takes advantage of naturally occurring cultures that will, make a soil, how do you want to say it, correct for planting, right? It won't have these damaging microbial agents in them. I mean, that's wild to me, man. I read about it.
It is.
Yeah. So, what you have any thoughts on the importance of sourcing food? I know you're a vegan, a level 15 shadow vegan. You don't eat anything that casts a shadow.
Level 15 shadow.
Yeah. Not if something casts a shadow, you will not eat it. That's what I've heard about you. You're much more pure than I am.
Yes, my air-based diet is going excellent. But yeah, vegan. But I generally, my background actually is I used to work in software for grain farmers, so I'm pretty familiar with how difficult it is to actually manage land sustainably. Because a lot of the time, you end up with this really strange situation where in your short-term interests, you'd like to make money and not go bankrupt. In your long-term interest, you'd like to also make money in 20 years and not go bankrupt. And these two factors are sometimes at odds with each other. So if we have mechanisms where we can put our finger on the scale and go like, no, we'd prefer for you to prioritize your own long-term interests and do more of that, this will make people behave in ways that are going to respect the soil more, going to respect the land more. And then we won't have degrading soils, which are going to be producing less food over time. We want more food, because if you have really healthy soils are drought resistant. So this means you can go longer periods with no rain and there's still going to be enough moisture in the soil to feed the plant something. So the plant's not going to die. So you're going to have better food production. And that can only happen if we have good, healthy soils. So we need to keep building them up.
Yeah, I mean, we are literally talking about the earth when we're talking about the soil. It's the layer that's providing us our life.
Yes, the life layer.
It is, and I mean the sun and the water are the holy trinity of life provision on our planet. So cool that they are tackling that. I'm gonna let you have the next two because you know about these, and I've been speaking enough. Earth.fm.
Okay, so these guys take soundscape NFTs inside nature. So these are NFTs that are sound instead of images. So they sell them, and then they use the proceeds that they generate to restore natural ecosystems. So it's a sort of art funding like we saw before, but they do it in a really cool way. And the branding of Earth FM is just so cool.
It's the best.
I mean, whoever came up with this concept and the branding, good job.
Yes, very cool stuff.
Good vibes.
Yep. So you can do more than just NFTs in terms of like visuals. You can do audio, and who doesn't want to hear a nice nice chirp of a cricket, or the splash of a bass as it breaches and jumps back into the water. I don't know if that's what the soundscapes are, but that's what I want to listen to.
All right. Yes.
All right. The next project that you're also familiar with, we both are, CO2 Cult.
Yes. Hello, Milk Money and Trace. I like you guys.
but not hello, EJ. He's the bad one on the team.
No.
Okay, go ahead. What can you tell us about this?
Yeah. So these are guys that are doing an NFT project, a nouns fork, if you will, where they are planning to auction off one NFT a day. And the large goal of this is to offset Ethereum's carbon footprint. But on a larger scale, why I like projects like CO2 Cult is that it's very accessible to also a retail audience. I think at the end of the day, a lot of the ReFi projects that people are working on are so hard to explain. It's like, what the hell are all of these like moving parts? How do they intersect? How do they move together? What exactly is the value being provided? All of this. It's sometimes very hard to explain, but we need projects that are just very accessible. Like, I just want to buy pictures that offset Ethereum's footprint. Can I buy pictures that offset Ethereum's
You
footprint
can. You
without
can.
having to know the complex mechanics of what is happening in the background? Because if so, that's cool. Let's do that. I mean, that's a goal, definitely.
Right. And you can. With CO2 Cult, they sell an orb every day. And there you have it. EJ. EJ Regen. Sorry, bud. All right, next one. Renewable energy and tree planting for rural Namibian community. Also, not crypto, but also very cool. To put it briefly, they want to provide pellet stoves, solar panels, and native fruit trees to groups of people living in Namibia in Africa, which will help those people and help the carbon footprint. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Anything you want to add to that, Rez?
Yeah, it's a small scale project. These are exactly the kind of things that generally have a very hard time producing carbon credits, for instance. Because there are cook stove based carbon credit projects where there are just companies that buy people cook stoves. Because if you're using a improved cook stove, which still uses, for instance, wood
Carbon.
as a source of heat, it's a lot more efficient with improved cook stoves. You get to claim the offset amount, and then that's a way you can fund actually improving the lives of rural communities in developing countries.
Yeah.
And the downside of that is that gold standard, Vera, all of these like big carbon registries, the cost of getting a project actually out there is generally very high. So these smaller projects have a very hard time doing, I'm looking for a good word, doing the good that they want to do because there's no logical source of funding. So it's cool that we're funding more real life things happening. And if you give $1 to this specific organization, I see the match is currently at $90. So, your $1 is gonna buy someone a cook stove. I mean, go out, do that. That seems cool, right?
And so to make a case more for the cook stoves, right now they use wood burning stoves. They cut trees down and burn them, and so everyone's doing this. The forest, the trees in their ecosystem have been depleted. There's only so much. The cool thing about the cook stoves is that they are more efficient and that they also can repurpose like animal dung, and use that as fuel. And you can say, well, that's still releasing carbon. You're 100% right. It is. But think of it this way. It's going to biodegrade and that carbon is going to be released anyway. Why not harness it for cooking, which will eliminate the need to chop more trees down. And then solar panels are obvious. And then the fruit trees are just because they have a diet that is like based on like a monocrop. There's no diversity. That's not good for their nutrition, and it's also much more susceptible to droughts and things of that nature if you have just one crop keeping your people fed. So yeah, definitely go donate, do some good. Clean Air Task Force, been around for a minute. CATF, I'll give you the honors because you're familiar with them, Rez.
Yes. One of the big problems we have with carbon is just the fact that we need to convince politicians and the general public that, something should be done about this and that there even are realistic solutions to one of humanity's biggest problems already in existence. We just need to put more attention and effort and energy into it. So lobbying groups have a very huge outsized role in actually bringing about positive change. So Clean Air Task Force does some lobbying. They do a lot of education. And both of those things are very good for actually decarbonizing the planet.
They talk to politicians, so you and I don't have to. And you can see their goals. I love the fact that they're into nuclear energy. I'm becoming a nuclear energy proponent every time I dig more and more into it. But even if you're not into that, they also do other things that are non-nuclear. But that is interesting. Like they add that. So yeah, you can look into them. You can see what they've done and what they've lobbied for thus far. They seem to be very effective, very professional, and very organized. So that is a worthwhile project in our humble opinion. And here is another one, which is Foresta, ReFi Wallet Protocol DAO, neobank for the Neo Green Revolution. And the way that this functions is by every time you do an Ethereum transaction, you can divert a portion of that to a green investment fund, a ReFi investment fund. So it's a way to merge crypto with ReFi with environmental investment. And this is something you and I were talking about. And so one of the concerns, and I can't speak to this, I'm not sure that you can either, is one of the challenges of doing this, you had mentioned, is that you're actually, the complexity of the transaction gets increased when you add things onto it. And it is possible that you're creating more carbon through a more complicated transaction. So, something to look out for. That's all I can say.
Yeah, exactly. Like if there's any fee collection in any protocol, they could end up spending more on the gas to do the fee collection than the actual fee collection costs.
Right.
It can happen. It's not necessarily true here, but that's something to look out for.
Cool. But I do like the initiative. I do like the fact that they are trying to put all these money Legos together. And that's what we're going to need. We're going to need people that are going to figure out see a path to make money in ReFi. Because as you know, people like money. Do you like money, Rez?
I'm pretty okay with money.
I like money.
As long as it gets spent wisely. If you're buying a super yacht with your money, I don't like money.
What if that super yacht is like called something like the ReFi Dream? What if it's got a good green name?
God.
And
that would trigger me so much. Like, imagine someone getting very rich off of the carbon market and buying a super yacht with it. I would literally have a panic attack.
We have to raise awareness somehow. All right. Spark Eco, decentralized solar power for the people, bringing Rex on chain. Very cool stuff. I'll let you take this one because you have some opinions on this. You have some background knowledge.
Yeah, they're running actual real life renewable energy projects, which is really cool. So renewable energy projects, if you do them, as a nice side benefit, you get to generate these things called RECs, which are renewable energy credits, which then get consumed by energy plants producing fossil fuels, for instance. So there's like a natural consumer on the other end of these. And in addition to that, they have been doing actual real-life stuff and creating their own RECs, which is cool. In terms of getting RECs on chain, I think there are like a few organizations that do something like that already, but I think we're still in this phase where, go do stuff, explore, see what happens. Like, one of you probably is going to win more than the others, but that doesn't necessarily mean none of you should try.
Yeah, very cool.
Go up, do stuff.
Absolutely. Speaking of doing stuff, Ogalla Life.
Yeah, we were trying to figure out how to pronounce this or write this. We were struggling finding it again for some reason.
This is one you specifically handpicked.
Yes.
So why do you like it? What's the deal?
Yeah, so these are the same guys behind the ReFi Punks NFT project, which is also one of those ways that people are trying to bring the retail crowd's attention into the ReFi space. But also, these guys are working on Ogalla Life. So what Ogalla Life does is that they're trying to figure out how do they solve the huge water crisis that the central plains in the United States are facing, because they just never seem to have enough water. Everyone feels like they're entitled to more water than is actually produced, and then finally we just don't have water there. So that's a problem, and they're trying to figure out a way to ecologically, or have an ecological fund that is working on fixing that issue and creating watersheds and creating areas where the ecosystem actually is working. And this is another one of those, just go do stuff in real life that matters. please.
Absolutely. And I learned today that Rez is actually a paid shill of Big Water. He gets paid by
Yeah,
Big
big
H2O.
water,
Yeah.
big water.
Like
It's like big air. Like those two are the worst. Big air, big water, big sun.
how much do they
Big
pay
sun.
you to say good things about water?
I think they pay me in water.
That's Ponzi.
I I don't know how much water I'm getting, but when I turn my taps on, there still is water there, so I'm assuming they're paying me.
Big Water's got a lot of water. All right,
They
so
do.
that's Rez's pet project. Here's my pet project. So we're gonna get to the part where not really has anything to do with. I shouldn't say that. Not entirely aligned with environment, but
Refi directly.
yeah. But worthwhile projects. Cohere. This is very interesting. Community-owned regenerative innovation hubs. It's kind of hard to explain, but it isn't at the same time. So think of it as you get to own multiple assets in the real world, locations that like community owned spaces that people can live on in a regenerative way. So when you buy a house and you pay a mortgage, you're getting equity in that property. But what if you could get equity in a portfolio of really cool natural environs that you can inhabit with your community and build really dope communal living spaces, which I'm all about. This is like really cool stuff. Anything you want to add to that, Rez?
Um, I really like this concept. I think it's going to have very interesting ways of how this can play out socially between the owners. Because, well, if homeowner associations are anything to base your opinions off of how groups of people manage land, then I'm a bit worried. But I am always super for experimentation. Like, go wild, see if it works, and if it works, report back. Because co-living is dope, for instance. Like, there are co-living communities around the world, and they have a lot of benefits for the people that like the setup of a co-living environment.
The challenges are many, as you know from an HOA, homeowners association. But I always think that if the participants are value aligned, which is easier said than done, they tend to work. If they're not, it's a nightmare. Like if 10 of us want a space where we can grow like a garden, and then 10 of us want a space where we can like have heavy metal rock concerts, like gets interesting. To your point, that could be an entire reality show.
Entire reality show, DAO Wars.
Yeah, co-living.
Co-living DAO Wars.
Yeah.
It's like my neighbor upstairs has been starting accumulating government's tokens to vote me out of the apartment building.
That's coming, dude. That's going to be
That's coming.
The next interpersonal like conflict's going to be that. But we can dream of a better world, and that's my transition into the Dream DAO, another Rez project. Give us the skinny, Sir Rez.
Yes, so diversity and inclusion is something that also deserves money, especially in the Web3 world where anyone who doesn't look like me or Mr. Slapton over here generally ends up being a bit underrepresented.
By the way, if you guys don't know, I'm doing my best to look like Rez. So that's why I'm growing out my facial hair. Like
slowly transforming.
I'm gonna get glasses. Yeah, my goal is to look like Rez without him realizing I'm looking like him. So he looks up one day and he's like is looking like in a mirror. Anyway, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, but so Dream DAO's whole point is just giving opportunities to Gen Z to do something interesting in Web3, do something interesting in social impact, get involved early, and just try and do something good for the planet. I mean, just opening up those opportunities for anyone is great, and opening up those opportunities for people that are just at the start of their journey into what non-school based life looks like. Fucking go for it. I love it.
I like that.
I wish more people got opportunities to just go out, explore, do cool stuff, like try to help.
I agree with that. There's a lot to explore. And this is another thing to explore. Really cool, funny name, She 256, which is a play on SHA 256. Another Resi baby pet project. What can you say about this?
There are a few of these on the Gitcoin grants round. There's also, I think, Blockchain Girls or something around that name, and there's, I think, at least one other one. But their whole point is let's provide more education, so more women, and not men could get involved in the crypto space, and
I feel
just
oppressed,
also.
Rez. I feel triggered and oppressed right now.
Oh my god!
I feel like
No.
you're attacking me. For the last
Attacking.
2 projects, you have attacked me. I'm joking.
Yeah, it's like it's not about you. What?
It's always about me.
It needs to be about me. But just I mean, more people should get involved, and it's holding the space back if it's just if it's just a subsection of the entirety of humanity that seems to be very into crypto and no one else is. I mean, I want to talk with more women about why my tokenomic structure makes sense. I've done that, and it's had varying results. But
I feel like talking to most people about your tokenomics is going to have varying results.
I know it's going to. It generally just doesn't work. It's too nerdy of a subject. It's like for 99.99% of people, it's brain meltingly boring, and I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
But I want just like maybe that 0.99 to go to 0.998 or something, and then that's pretty good already, I guess. So
can you do me a favor? Can you put on your Twitter profile, I just want to talk to more women about my tokenomics?
Oh my god, no, let's not do that. That's a terrible quote. I take that back. That's bad. Yeah.
It's the best thing you've ever said.
I'm a nerdy dude. I just like talking about nerdy shit all the time. It's a vibe. I'm sorry.
I love it. All right, and then here's the final one. We have to end with this. Changeblock, our boys.
Our boys.
So exciting news on this front. This has become like how would you want to say it? A mission? How would you describe our attempts to get them on this fine podcast? A calling? A burning passion? A desire? Like
yes, it's been a void that, needs to be filled by the presence of the block of change.
Well, exciting news is that the CEO, Billy Richards, I'm going to meet with him this Thursday, and I'm going to do my best. He's going to finally speak to us. He's going to explain his protocol to us in detail, like an expert can. Only he can. And we're going to not have to speculate on what Changeblock is. We will know 100% for sure. Let's get it.
I am so excited. Let's make it happen. Come tell us what your project is. We've been wondering for weeks. Our audience has been wondering for weeks.
I think I know what it is now. But
okay.
we'll see. What we should do before we meet him is make a prediction of what we think it is, and then see which of us is closest, or if we're not close at all. That'll be good, right?
Okay. Yeah, we can have like a bingo sheet of like keywords that are actually true, and we can see like who gets more.
I like that.
I like that. Yeah.
We did it. We reviewed all of the Git. Well, there's so much more, right? There's like
there's hundreds. Even in the like climate category, I think there were like 300 projects.
I think 144, but like that's a lot.
It's a lot. So like whatever you heard here, do your own research. Just like go out, scroll, see what speaks to you. Give them like even $1. Give like a lot of projects $1. Giving a lot of projects $1 is a good use of money. You'll get huge multipliers. If you like a project more, give them $5. Give them $10. Who cares? It's great. Just like give them some amount of money. They'll get a lot more. You'll feel good for it, and you can go to sleep knowing you gave like $5 that ended up being like $100 to projects that you liked. I mean,
unbelievable.
What's not to hate?
So instead of doing a perpetual short on that shit altcoin, trying to like make a couple bucks, take that money you're gonna lose, put it to sheet 256 and get women in the space so Rez has people to talk to tokenomics about. This is simple stuff.
Makes perfect sense, yeah.
Rez, final question. How much you bench pressing these days?
Oh my god, I wouldn't even know at this point. I haven't been to the gym in like a year. It's
He's
not
being
pretty.
Modest.
It's not pretty.
That's 500 kilograms.
My
my god,
suck.
dude.
No muscles. It's just nothing.
Bitcoin round GR15 or
Bitcoin round, yeah.
Gitcoin
Oh
round
my god.
15 is let's put some regulation on those guns, man. Keep the world safe.
No, no, yeah, no, it's not Bitcoin. Oh my god, like
It's
a
hard to
blockchain.
say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is a blockchain. It's proof of grant. So that's a
grant.
that's a Bitcoin grant.
All right, man.
You
We've solved
get
the
Bitcoins from giving grants. It's a great tokenomics model. I swear, it makes sense.
the best. Well,
Stop asking questions. It's
I
good.
feel like we've spread the word, spread the knowledge. Now it's up to the people to give their money to good projects. We will catch you all in the next one. Remember, above all else, to ape responsibly. Would you? Peace, dudes.
Peace.
And dudettes. And hey, if you are a dudette, Rez, what's the Twitter tag?
At 0xres.
Let's go. Peace.